Let me tell you about a client of mine. We'll call him David. He stared at the promotion announcement for what he felt like the 10th time, completely stunned. It wasn't a mistake. His colleague got the senior position, the one David knew he deserved. For 3 years, he'd been the go-to person on his team, the technical expert, the one who always hit his targets. And yet, he was completely stuck. It felt like he was on a treadmill, just running faster and faster and going nowhere. He was great at his job, but when it came to actually moving up, he was invisible. That night, he stumbled across a stat that just floored him. Apparently, 90% of top performers have high emotional intelligence. It wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter with people and with his own emotions. So I had him try an experiment. For the next 6 months, he was going to focus on just 3 specific emotional intelligence or EQ techniques. So hack number 1, the self-awareness journal. First things first, he had to figure out what was actually going on inside his own head. So this was the hack number 1, self-awareness or building self-awareness. It sounds basic, I know, but get this. Researchers like Tasha Eurich have found that while 95% of people think they are self-aware, only about 10 or 15% of us actually are. David was definitely in the clueless majority. To fix this, I had him to start a super simple work journal. Every day before logging off, he would take 5 minutes to answer one question. What situation today made me feel a strong emotion? He didn't judge it, he just wrote it down. Anger, excitement, anxiety, whatever. After about 2 weeks, a pattern jumped at him. He told me he would get this hot flash of frustration whenever a certain manager sent one of his quick question emails. You know the type. It's never a quick question. It's a huge, urgent task in disguise. He realized he wasn't mad about the extra work itself. He was anxious that his own planned projects were about to be completely derailed. Just identifying that trigger was a total game changer. Instead of just fuming at his desk, he could see the feeling coming up. That simple act of noticing gave him a foundation for everything else. He started to understand his own reactions instead of just being a victim of them. Hack number 2, the strategic pause. Of course, knowing you're about to get angry is useless if you still fly off that handle. That led to the second hack I gave him, the strategic pause. Being able to manage your own emotions, especially when you are under pressure. That's what separates followers from leaders. He got his chance to test this out in a big project meeting. He told me a stakeholder started to publicly tearing apart a section of the project that he was leading. His first impulse, get defensive. His heart started to pounding. His face got hot. And the old David would have immediately jumped in with a list of all the reasons the stakeholder was wrong. But this time, he just paused. He took one slow, deep breath and silently counted to 3. It felt like an eternity, but in reality, it was maybe 2 seconds. That tiny bit of space was all he needed to let the initial wave of defensiveness wash over him and pass. Instead of fighting back, he said, "That's a valid concern. Can you walk me through what you're seeing on your end? I want to make sure I fully understand." The shift in the room was instant. The stakeholder, who was clearly ready for a battle, softened his tone. They ended up having a really productive conversation that actually made the project much better. Afterwards, his manager pulled him aside and said he was really impressed by how he handled the pressure. It wasn't about being a pushover, it was about choosing a response that actually worked. That pause gave him back control. Now, hack number 3, the empathetic question. So David was getting a handle on his own emotions. The final piece of the puzzle was to start focusing on everyone else's. Real leaders don't just manage themselves, they understand and influence the emotions of their team. This is all about empathy. The third hack I gave him was a simple tool for him to practice. There was a junior colleague on his team who was consistently missing deadlines. His old approach would have been to call her out on the delays and pressure her to work faster. But this time, he asked her to grab a cup of coffee. Instead of starting with the problem, he asked, "It seems like the workload has been pretty intense lately. How are you feeling about everything?" She immediately opened up. She was struggling to get the hang of the new project management software and was too embarrassed to admit it. She felt completely overwhelmed. This was a problem he could actually solve. They spent an hour together going through the system, and her performance turned around almost overnight. By asking a question that focused on her experience instead of just her output, he turned a performance issue into a coaching moment and built a much stronger, more trusting relationship. Those 6 months went by in a flash for him. The daily journaling showed him his triggers, the pause saved him from countless arguments, and the empathetic questions completely changed how he would work with his team and colleagues. When his boss called him into her office right at the 6th month, he told me he was still a little nervous, but this time was different. She offered him the senior position. She told him his technical skills were never in doubt, but what stood out was his growth in maturity, communication, and how he handled tough situations. She said that was what made him the clear choice for a leader. These hacks are not magic formulas, they're skills. And emotional intelligence isn't just some corporate buzzword, it's a practical set of tools that can genuinely change your career. In fact, studies show about 75% of managers consider an employee's EQ when it comes to promotions. So where do you start? Don't try to do it all at once. Just pick one of these hacks, the journal, the pause, the question, and try it for 1 week. See how it feels. If this story helped you, I would love it if you would hit the like button and subscribe for more real career advice. And I'm genuinely curious, which one of these 3 hacks are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments below.